These are the 2002 to 2004 Orion 7 CNGs, the first Orion 7s and the second CNG-powered low-floor buses of New York City Transit. Now their fleet numbers range from 7560 to 7819, with 7560 to 7587 being 2002 models, 7588 to 7684 along with 7685 to 7777 being 2003 models, while 7778 to 7819 are 2004 models. Now 7560 was the first Orion 7 to be delivered and tested on the BX-28 on January 18, 2002 under Gun Hill Depot. Then shortly afterwards, 7560 to 7653 were delivered to Jackie Gleason Depot, while 7654 to 7819 were delivered to West Farms Depot. Damn, Jackie Gleason Depot is always the first to test CNG-powered buses. Well, that's because they were the first depot to ever have CNG-powered buses. Since 2015, many have been swapped back and forth between West Farms and Jackie Gleason Depot, and in early May of this year, 7 units being 7578, 7600, 7619, 7624, 7627, 7631, and 7657 were sent to Spring Creek Depot, formerly known as Command Bus Company, due to a shortage that MTA Bus is currently suffering from. And the bus fans, transit fans, as well as myself, were like,
holy shit! Holy shit!
I mean, I'm sure some of them will eventually be sent to MTA Bus, but nobody was expecting them to go to Spring Creek. I mean, a lot of us thought they were going to be sent to College Point Depot. I mean, I would have lost my mind if any of those went that way. But oh well. Unfortunately, 7640 was written off in 2015 after suffering from an exhaust fire. Now, I'm not going to go around pointing fingers at West Farms Depot, even though that's where 7640 was based out of. But then again, this shows you that anything can happen anywhere in the system with any bus, no matter which depot it comes from. Unless you're one of those depots like, oh, LaGuardia Depot, who has a rap sheet of poor maintenance mishaps. But I'm not going to lie, they have been improving. Anyway, back to the Orion 7 CNGs. So these Orion 7s were built under the model 07.501, with the 7 indicating the model of the bus, 501 indicating the length is 40 feet, and CNG indicating that the bus is powered by compressed natural gas, which was stored in the CNG tank, which is what that big dome is on top of the bus, for those who don't know. And these were also built under Daimler Chrysler Commercial Bus North America, unlike its predecessors that were built under Orion Bus Industries and Bus Industries of America. These Orion 7 CNGs are, oh man, there's only one way to describe these Orion 7s. Mind-boggling. I mean, woo, shit! These Orion 7 CNGs are the bomb. To those who dislike them due to their loudness or the fact that they're Orion 7s in general, well, guess what?
Shut up!
Because
they're the shit.
Well said, Tony, because he is right. Remember guys, anything built after the Orion 7 old gens are a real piece of shit! They should have never redesigned it, because to me, it looked fine just the way it was. Anywho, these Orion 7s were one of the last buses to be delivered with Luminator Max 3000 destination signs, and helped diversify New York City Transit's bus fleet in the Bronx and Brooklyn exclusively. So this order of Orion 7 CNGs is pretty interesting to say the least, and we're also chucked with new and noticeable features, with one of them being the overall exterior design, as well as the interior, and we're also one of the last buses ever built by Orion to feature the slanted window, as seen on this photo of 7652. And these Orion 7 CNGs also feature one hell of an engine. For example, these Orion 7 CNGs, with the exception of 7691 and 7748, signify the use of the Detroit Diesel Series 50G engine. But brace yourselves, because these Orion 7s are extremely loud. 7650 to 7684 are Generation 1 units, and feature the Allison B400R transmission. Here it is. (7685 to 7819) are Generation 2 units, and feature the ZF Ecomat-2 HP-592C transmissions. Here it is. Now 7691 and 7746 are pretty distinct units because they were repowered with the Cummins Westport ISL-G engines with the Allison B400R transmissions, just like the 2011 to 2013 New Flyer C40LFs, and sound like this. They were later repowered once again with Doosan GL11K engines, which sounds like this. Sounds pretty cool, but I think the Series 50G is perfect for these buses. I mean, I just love how loud and strong they sound. Here are a few examples of how loud these Orion 7 CNGs really are. Here's an example from several blocks away. And here's one being revved up to the max. Now, here's an example of two of them going at the same time. Damn! Damn! And let's not forget that backfire. These buses are mind-blowing. I mean, they got me acting like Tourette's guy right now. Speaking of which, why don't I let him speak for me?
Shit! Holy shit! Oh, shit! Holy shit!
I mean, just the sound of these can make anyone lose it, stop whatever they're doing, and check it out. Yeah, I know a lot of people can't stand them and criticize them due to their loudness, especially at night, but unfortunately,
I don't give a shit! I don't give a shit! Shit! Shit!
because there are some of us who love these. Now, I'm not one who foams, but with this one, I'm about to lose my mind. So before I lose it, let's hear what fellow transit fans and operators have to say.
Alright, so here are my thoughts of the old gen Orion 7 CNG. Let's start off with the 2002-2003 units first. About the 2002-2003 old gen Orion 7 CNGs, features a DD50G EGR engine with the Allison B400R transmission. Oh my god. When I first encountered those when the West Farms Depot opened in 2003, that's why I lost my mind and fell right in love with those buses. Those buses were amazing. They were very fast. Yes! Even if it's a CNG, those buses are fucking fast. But as far as I can understand, that the 7560 was a 2001 unit. Well, more like a pilot, but you get the idea. 7560 was a pilot, ran it on the BX-28 or from the Gun Hill Depot. Then the pilot was a success, but it was switched over to the Jackie Gleason Depot because what else? Where else? Jackie Gleason Depot was the only CNG depot at that time. Most of those old gen CNGs aged very well. I gotta tell you that. But you know, like 2 units, as I could try to remember, 7640 and 7672. Oh, were the ones who blew up. Yeah, I'm sad that those old gens are gone too soon. Years have gone by so fast. But they will be remembered as the first batch of the old gen CNGs. Now, let's talk about the 2004 old gen Orion 7 CNGs. It sounds similar, but the only difference, it features a DD50G EGR engine with a ZF EcoMat 2 transmission. It doesn't do the thing when it decelerates and accelerates. But they're the only Gen 2 old Gen CNGs that ever been ordered, and they were all originally from the West Farms depot. All these units still at West Farms till this very day. When I first saw the old Gen CNG ZFs, as I call them, I saw it on the BX19. It was number 7688. I was like, oh, they're bringing more of those, but this time with an orange display. But they still kept it how the 2002-2003 units ran, but 7691 and 7746 were repowered with a Cummins Westport ISL engine with an Allison B400R transmission years later. But unfortunately, 7691 and 7746 has been retired recently, but I remember running 7746, but it sounded, I ain't gonna lie, it sounds awesome. And on top of that, they're gonna retire by the end of this decade. As for both of those old gen CNGs, they've been going on since my teenage years, and so far, they have been so far one of my top 10 lists on my most favorite buses. I hope 7560 is preserved as a museum fleet, and I hope one of the ZF has been preserved too, but I'm not sure how the future is gonna hold them for those ZF CNGs. But as for the 2002-2003 units, they're fading away, but they will be remembered as MTA's first official old gen Orion 7 CNGs. But as throughout the whole order, they will be remembered as MTA's only old gen Orion 7 CNG fleet.
Hello, my fellow bus fans, rail fans, or as a short name, transit fan. This is your boy Los Escapa, aka Ellie 8th Avenue Rail Fan, formerly known as Ellie Redbird 9587. Now, I'm here to share you a short story and my impressions about the loudest bus of MTA New York City Transit, the Orion 7 CNG. Now, this takes place back in Brooklyn in 2005, when my aunt used to work at this deli in Brooklyn, near Hoyt-Skimmerhorn Street, by the way. So once we were traveling from Queens all the way to Hoyt-Skimmerhorn Street, once we stepped out of that entrance, the first thing I noticed was an Orion 7 CNG, that exact same bus. I don't, unfortunately, just to let you guys know, I don't know the fleet number, but that bus was loud. Like, it was loud when I first saw it. It came and it just stopped just to pick up passengers. And then once that light turned green, the bus just blasted off. And when I looked at it, I was like, okay, this bus looks kind of different. Well, it looks exactly, but it's different. The thing that I actually noticed is the engine sounded different, and the tank was bigger. I was, is this a hybrid or is this something else? Just to let you guys know, I didn't know what was a hybrid, diesel, CNG back in those times until 2015, of course, since I became a rail fan or a bus fan. But when I first saw it, I was surprised, shocked, and my eyes were like wide open when I first stared at that bus. I actually wanted to even take a ride with it, but unfortunately we were running out of time. We had to head to the deli and take do the job, of course. Well, she had to do the job while she's just there to take good care of me. So When I first saw the Orion 7 CNG, I was like shocked. Yes, I know I'm repeating it, but so after once we were done, once my aunt was finished working, and then we were heading now back to Queens, I saw two of them, two Orion 7 CNG coming. I was like, whoa, wow, and it was loud. Like it was loud. I couldn't even hear my aunt talking. She was talking while those buses were here. The only thing that got me on my attention was those buses falsing ass in the same time. Like, wow, wow. And then not just that, my aunt even flipped out when she heard that bus growling and very loudness. The loudness, my bad. So I even asked her, could we please take a ride with it? But she even asked me, what's the bus route? Do you know where to go? I actually didn't know because I never rode it. I never rode it since the very first day when they first came. But I did rode them in 2016 October. I went straight from Queens all the way to George Washington bus terminal. Yo, the very first bus I ever saw was an Orion 7 CNG, while the next one was a New Flyer C40LF. I was like, please give me an Orion 7 CNG. I really want to ride these buses. But you better be damn right. West Farms Orion 7 CNGs are loud. It was loud. And not just that, the Orion 7 CNG that came to me was 7718. And that bus was loud until I even sat like right in the back of that bus. The seat was vibrating. Like, wow. It was like one of the best rides I ever did, because while other buses don't actually vibrate that much. They do vibrate, but smoothly, while the CNG Orion 7s are like, they vibrate really hard. And not just that, the best part of that is that the only thing I heard from that bus was nothing but just the engine. The engine got my attention, that I was sitting like right in front of it. I just keep sitting in that bus. While I hear a backfire, I'll be like, that's the first thing I'll be doing. Either if it's a CNG bus, or a New Flyer C40LF, or a Orion 7 hybrid, or a next gen hybrid, whatever it is that actually had like an Orion 7, like a CNG series looking. But that bus falls ass. And by the way, shout out to that bus driver from West Farms. So the Orion 7 CNG are still running right now, but there are now some of them are being transferred from Gleason all the way to Spring Creek in Brooklyn. Well, Gleason is in Brooklyn too, but while Spring Creek is actually an MTA bus depot. And plus, not just that, it is a CNG depot. It's a diesel depot also, while with the MCI D4500C CLs and CTs. So they actually got transferred there. And the very first one that I ever got to ride on from Spring Creek was 7654, I guess. 7654, I guess. That actually, I caught it on the B100. That bus falls ass. And not just that, it was even better than riding a New Flyer C40LF with that Orion 7 running on Spring Creek. And plus, I didn't even know that there was an Orion 7 coming. I thought it was a C40 that was coming. But I just got so shocked once I signaled the bus driver. He stopped to me and I got myself inside that bus, and I just enjoyed the ride. But unfortunately, in 2017, which is the current year, a lot of them are being retired due to their expiration dates of the CNG tanks. But, and not just that, they're also getting replaced by the new order of the New Flyers XN40 CNG Excelsiors. Gleason and West Farms has them, but don't get me wrong, I do like those. I like how the scheme looks like, and not just that, they're also featuring free Wi-Fi and USB ports along with the buses. But I'm not saying they're bad. But those buses I'm starting to like them since I got used to them when the XD60s came to Baisley. So I actually like them. But the Orion 7s are nothing but just going to be a memory once all of them are retired. We already know that the museum's not going to preserve one since what happened with the RTS from Command Bus 4904, they're not gonna, they prefer not to take that risk, if I'm correct. But these buses are going to be known as MTA's very first Orion 7s, and the second New Flyer the second lower floor buses, and the second type of CNG type bus. But once these buses are gone, it's going to be nothing but just a memory. And once you get, and by the way, guys, if you guys are really interested, very interested to have like a ride with these buses, take a time out of your schedule or your business time and take a ride on it. You're not gonna get disappointed. You're gonna love it. But these buses are soon to get retired, so a lot of them are being sent to the scrapyard in Eastchester. Yes, I do know because I went there and I checked it. I saw some, and don't forget they're gonna retire, and don't forget they're CNG buses. They don't hold up that much, but take your eyes on it ASAP, because once they're gone, once they're all gone, sooner or later there's gonna be nothing but just a memory. So that's all I gotta say about the Orion 7 CNG. So from this part, I'm gonna leave the rest of the review to Kal-El.
Now, my opinions about the Orion 7 CNG is that they are amazing. Reason being because even though the Orion 5s had their debuts with their backfires, you guys have been missing out with the Orion 7 CNG's backfires. Now, reason also that I know so much about these buses because as a young child, my mom would normally take me down to Church Avenue, and the Orion 7 CNGs are still now in Jacket Gleason Depot, and they were assigned on the B35. I didn't even have to know what a bus sounded like, but them shits were loud as hell to the point that I literally had to look, and I'm just saying, is that the bus? But I still have old videos of that shit, and still to this very day, I'm still proud to be riding those buses. Other than that, I'm officially very hyped the fact that Spring Creek got Orion 7 CNGs, especially on the B103. I got my footage, I got my pictures and shit like that. But it's sad to say that these buses are retiring shortly due to XN40s taking over. Now, don't get me wrong, them shits are nice, and plus, some shits can backfire a lot. But all I could say is these buses are not going to be forgotten, especially to bus fans everywhere in New York City. And that's all my opinions I have to say for now. Back to you, Kal-El.
What's good, Transit Universe? This is Reggie Davis coming at you live from the BLE Transit Network headquarters, here to give my thoughts and opinions of the loudest buses in New York City Transit, the Orion 7 Old-Gen CNG and ZF CNGs. Now, the first bus I remember riding on was 7560, which was a 2001 unit, which I caught access to when living in Crown Heights. Now, when it was on the B65 and it zoomed down Bergen Street, it immediately stole my attention. I was like, was that the bus actually taking off like that? My goodness, these buses are ridiculously loud, right next to the former 1999 New Flyer C40LF CNGs. Now, I admit, Gleason was the first depot to get this bus, and as a Brooklynite myself, I was excited. Now, when West Farms got their ZF CNGs, the first time I remember riding that was on the BX36. Now, with 7700, that's my favorite bus because it is the loudest of all the ZF CNGs that I ever rode while journeying throughout the Bronx. Now, I admit that these buses are on their last days because the tanks being expired. I mean, I love these buses so much. I grew up with them from 2001 until now. I don't want to see them go. But the good news is that the ZF CNGs still have a lot of life in them. But I know that the fact that they're being replaced with the incoming order of the XN40s with added amenities of Wi-Fi and USB. But my goodness, these buses resonated with me in such a huge way. Now, as a bus fan myself, I love the transmission, especially when it's Allison or even ZF. whichever your choice, whether you're in the Bronx or in Brooklyn. So if you're in the area of any Gleason or West Farms route, take the time out of your busy schedule and give it a listen. You won't be disappointed. Now with the B61 being the star route of the Jackie Gleason bus depot, I was lucky to even catch 3 of them in one setting, with bus number 7600 being the loudest of all of the buses that they have in Brooklyn. Now, I admit I'm going to miss these buses when they're gone, so I encourage you bus fans to get your rides in and your transit pics and vids ASAP, because just like the departed Orion VIIs from last year, there'll be nothing but a memory, and I'm going to miss these buses so dearly. Now, every time I'm always near these buses, I have no choice but to stop and record that wonderful sound, sounding like a huge rocket taking off. So that's basically all my thoughts. Now, with the recent delivery of the XN40s, some of these buses have been pushed, as you've recently seen, towards Spring Creek. Yeah, that's right, Spring Creek has gotten them. Now, the first route that I caught them on while journeying at Kings Highway was in fact the B100. And 2 of them showed up at the same time. I even caught an exclusive right there on Avenue U. Or was it Avenue, or it was Kings Highway. But anyway, now when it first started up, I was immediately surprised. Now the B100 really looks good with these Orion 7s. I have yet to catch one on the B103, so just give me time. So just stay tuned and make sure that you get all the bus rides you can, because sooner or later it could all be gone. Also, I encourage you to hit the link on my channel, the BLE Transit, of all the Orion 7 CNGs and ZF CNGs that I've captured throughout the years. And that's just my personal opinion. So until then, I'm Reggie Davis of BLE Transit Network, saying don't let anyone steal your joy. And as always, keep it simple and keep it real, and safe travels. And now I'm going to throw it back to my good friend, Kal-El C. Johnson.
Now, I personally think these Orion 7s are amazing and are not to be taken lightly, even though there were some defects that resulted in an overhaul earlier on, as well as some nitpicks and criticisms due to their loudness, but I love these Orion 7s. I mean, whenever I go to the Bronx or Brooklyn, I'm always looking forward to seeing them, especially when they use them for the subway shuttles. One thing that I've always noticed is that the units at West Farms are 10 times louder than the units at Gleason. For example, the Orion 7 CNGs at West Farms have a much louder roar, along with more of a growl. While the Orion 7 CNGs at Gleason are loud, but don't really growl as much. Well, this has to do with who's better at maintaining their equipment. And I have to say that West Farms really needs to work on how they maintain their buses a little more. Now, I know they're not as bad as Gun Hill or, LaGuardia Depot, but unless West Farms steps up their game, they'll never, ever, ever be as good as Gleason Depot. For one, they had 7788 fall from the lift onto the floor. Onto the floor!
What the fuck? Damn it!
Now, I know that shit happens, but they're very lucky that that CNG tank didn't explode. And I understand that some of the neighborhoods that their routes go through often contribute to their equipment looking like crap inside and out. But on the bright side, the lack of maintenance really makes their Orion 7 CNGs scream their pipes off. As you can see, these Orion 7s were later given the white back and later featured the newer decal scheme, which I personally dislike. But on the bright side, it does look nice when it's clean and the decals aren't rushed, though I think they look beyond badass with the original blackback scheme. And I'm sure a lot of us do. Unfortunately, the 2002 to 03 units are quickly being retired and written off due to their CNG tanks expiring, and are quickly being replaced by the incoming New Flyer Excelsior XN40s. Now, don't get me wrong, I am slowly starting to like those, but this is the opportunity to get your rides, footage, and photos of these Orion 7s ASAP. Even though the 2003 to 04 Orion 7 CNGs will be here a little while longer, I can honestly say that once they're all gone, it's going to be extremely hard going to parts of Brooklyn and the Bronx and not seeing these, let alone hearing these. So as for the 2002 to 03 Orion 7 CNGs, get your rides in ASAP, because before you know it, they'll be out of here. And as for the 2003 to 04 Orion 7 CNGs, enjoy them while they're still alive and well. For some, they'll be forgotten, while for some, they'll always be remembered as New York City Transit's first Orion 7s, sole Orion 7 CNGs, and most importantly, the loudest buses of New York City Transit. So with that said, this is Kal-El, thanking you guys for watching, and turn it up!
Hello, my fellow bus fans, rail fans, or as a short name, transit fan. This is your boy LOUDEST, aka LE 8th Avenue Rail Fanner, formerly known as LE Redbird 9587. Now, I'm here to share you a short story and my impressions about the loudest bus of MTA New York City Transit, the Orion 7 CNG. Now, this takes place back in Brooklyn in 2005 when my aunt used to work at this deli in Brooklyn near Hoyt-Skimmerhorn Street, by the way. So once we were traveling from Queens all the way to Hoyt-Skimmerhorn Street, once we stepped out of that entrance, the first thing I noticed was an Orion 7 CNG, that exact same bus. I don't, unfortunately, just to let you guys know, I don't know the fleet number, but that bus was loud. Like, it was loud when I first saw it. It came and it just stopped just to pick up passengers. And then once that light turned green, the bus just blasted off. And when I looked at it, I was like, okay, this bus looks kind of different. Well, it looks exactly, but it's different. The thing that I actually noticed is the engine sounded different, and the tank was bigger. I was, is this a hybrid or is this something else? Just to let you guys know, I didn't know what was a hybrid diesel CNG back in those times until 2015, of course, since I became a rail fan or a bus fan. But when I first saw it, I was surprised, shocked, and my eyes were like wide open when I first stared at that bus. I actually wanted to even take a ride with it, but unfortunately we were running out of time. We had to head to the deli and take do the job, of course. Well, she had to do the job while she's just there to take good care of me. So when I first saw the Orion 7 CNG, I was like shocked. Yes, I know I'm repeating it, but so once we were done, once my aunt was finished working, and then we were heading now back to Queens, I saw two of them, two Orion 7 CNG coming. I was like, whoa, wow. And it was loud. Like, it was loud. I couldn't even hear my aunt talking. She was talking while those buses were here. The only thing that got me on my attention was those buses falsing ass in the same time. Like, wow. Wow. And then not just that, my aunt even flipped out when she heard that bus growling and very loudness. The loudness, my bad. So I even asked her, could we please take a ride with it? But she even asked me, what's the bus route? Do you know where to go? I actually didn't know because I haven't. Hello, my fellow bus fans, rail fans, or as a short name, transit fan. This is your boy LOUDEST, aka Ellie 8th Avenue Rail Fanner, formerly known as Ellie Redbird 9587. Now, I'm here to share you a short story and my impressions about the loudest bus of MTA New York City Transit, the Orion 7 CNG. Now, this takes place back in Brooklyn in 2005 when my aunt used to work at this deli in Brooklyn near Hoyt-Skimmelhorn Street, by the way. So once we were traveling from Queens all the way to Hoyt-Skimmelhorn Street, once we stepped out of that entrance, the first thing I noticed was an Orion 7 CNG, that exact same bus. Unfortunately, just to let you guys know, I don't know the fleet number, but that bus was loud. Like, it was loud when I first saw it. It came and it just stopped just to pick up passengers. And then once that light turned green, the bus just blasted off. And when I looked at it, I was like, okay, this bus looks kind of different. Well, it looks exactly, but it's different. The thing that I actually noticed is the engine sounded different, and the tank was bigger. Is this a hybrid or is this something else? Just to let you guys know, I didn't know what was a hybrid, diesel, CNG back in those times until 2015, of course, since I became a rail fan or a bus fan. But when I first saw it, I was surprised, shocked, and my eyes were like wide open when I first stared at that bus. I actually wanted to even take a ride with it, but unfortunately we were running out of time. We had to head to the deli and take do the job, of course. Well, she had to do the job while she's just there to take good care of me. So when I first saw the Orion 7 CNG, I was like shocked. Yes, I know I'm repeating it, but so after once we were done, once my aunt was finished working, and then we were heading now back to Queens, I saw two of them, two Orion 7 CNG coming. I was like, whoa, wow. And it was loud. Like, it was loud. I couldn't even hear my aunt talking. She was talking while those buses were here. The only thing that got me on my attention was those buses falsing ass in the same time. Like, wow. And then not just that, my aunt even flipped out when she heard that bus growling and very loudness. The loudness, my bad. So I even asked her, could we please take a ride with it? But she even asked me, what's the bus route? Do you know where to go? I actually didn't know because I haven't